The tale starts off evolved in 1967 in Los Angeles, wherein Alice lives together along with her daughters in a residence. Recently, her husband has handed away, and the three of them are suffering to triumph over their grief to make ends meet. Alice pretends to be a spirit medium. She claims to connect human beings with the spirits in their cherished tunes, and lead them to speak even 11, though none of it's far actual. Her daughters, Doris and Paulina, additionally guide her in his faux commercial enterprise. One day, Paulina is going to her friend's residence for a celebration, wherein all her pals determine to play with an Ouija board. This board supposedly allows them to speak with spirits. There had been 3 regulations for gambling the sport. 1. It ought to by no means be performed by myself. 2. It ought to by no means be performed in a graveyard. 3. One should constantly say goodbye earlier than finishing the sport. As they start gambling, to everyone's marvel, the planchette moves. However, Paulina isn't always very shocked due to the fact she already is aware of approximately such hints. Meanwhile, her mom arrives to choose her up, and that they go away for domestic. On the manor, Paulina shows to Alice that they ought to additionally carry in Ouija board to their residence, as it might make deceiving their customers less difficult. Alice consents, and the following morning she brings in Ouija board domestic. After setting the board in the residence, she is going to high school to choose up Doris. There we see that Doris is being bullied through different college students, something she's now no longer shared with everyone. Regardless, Alice takes Doris domestic. As quickly as she got here domestic, she determined to play the Ouija board unaware that there had been certain regulations to observe. One of the principal regulations turned into that the sport ought to by no means be performed by myself. However, she turned into gambling by myself. While gambling, she observed that the planchette turned into shifting. Alice then commenced asking inquiries to any spirit gift. However, she failed to acquire any solutions on the planchette. Instead, we see that Alice's daughter Doris has now emerged as possessed, and he or she is the only answering all the questions that Alice turned into asking through the Ouija board. When Alice requested for the spirit's call, Doris replied with Marcus. This intended that the spirit that had regarded and possessed Doris turned into named Marcus. After a while, as quickly as Alice stopped gambling the Ouija board, Doris additionally back to every day. However, Alice broke any other vital rule. She failed to say goodbye earlier than leaving their creation. That night, time we see Doris drawing near the Ouija board. She knew that the Ouija board turned into a manner to connect with the spirits of cherished ones. She tries to hook up with the spirit of her father, Roger. To her marvel, the planche begins off evolved shifting, and he or she believes that she's efficaciously made touch, together along with her dad. The subsequent day, Doris is going to college, in which Father Tom, who runs the college, calls Alice in. At first it regarded like he desired to speak approximately the homework Doris had executed, assuming Alice had helped her. But that wasn't the case. Doris had executed a really properly process, something she had in no way executed earlier than in college. Later, Alice returns domestic with Doris handiest to find out that their residence is set to be damaged into quickly. Due to the fact after the loss of life of her husband, Roger Alice turned into Hugh not able to pay the taxes on their residence. This state of affairs deeply stricken both Alice and Paulina. Meanwhile, on the same time, Doris turned into the usage of the Ouija board. Through it, Doris's father informed her approximately a hidden room within the basement in which a cabinet contained a big sum of money. Shocked via way of means of this revelation, Doris right now knowledgeable. Alice went to take a look at, and to her marvel, the whole thing turned into real. She began out to accept as true, with that Doris had virtually linked together along with her father. Because of this, the three of them determined to apply the Ouija board together to speak with Roger. Alice desired to check whether or not the spirit truly belonged to Roger or a person else. She requested a query that handiest she and Roger knew the solution to. When she acquired the accurate reaction, she have become convinced that the spirit turned into certainly her late husband. This reinforced Alice's faith. With inside the Ouija board, Doris additionally informed her that she may want to see spirits acting on the planchette. Alice then got here up with a plan to apply Doris and the Ouija board to assist her customers connect to their deceased cherished ones. However, Paulina refused to aid this concept. Despite this, Alice went in advance together, along with her plan. She began out connecting human beings with their cherished ones via Doris and the Ouija board. Their enterprise flourished, and as an result, Doris even stopped attending college. During those seances, Doris would frequently make peculiar sounds that resembled the voices of human beings' deceased family contributors. This made their customers accept as true, with inside the system even greater boosting their enterprise. However, amid all this, Doris' regularly skilled ache in her neck, she turned into feeling something heavy on her. That's why she took the plan sheet and appeared via the replicant. There turned into a Neville spirit on her shoulder. Seeing it, he were given scared. She screamed, and due to the fact of that the evil spirit went in her, the evil spirit took over her and possessed her. As quickly as she turned into possessed, Doris have become ordinary. She then whispered something in her sister's ear, something so gentle that day Pina's pal visited her residence when he spoke. To Doris, she spoke back in a completely eerie and unsettling way. She requested him, if a person dies from strangulation, how does it sense? How painful is it? Hearing this, the boy felt very uneasy. Later, while Paulina went to her room, she noticed that a person had stitched her doll's lips close. Seeing this, she were given indignant, assuming it become Doris's doing. But Doris denied it, saying, "No, I did not try this. Dad did. He needs tossilence, all of the voices on this residence." She become relating to the voices Doris have been listening to, currently hearing this. Paulina have become nervous and went to Alice saying, "I suppose Doris is going loopy. She's been performing very strangely." That night, Paulina noticed that Doris had written a few notes. However, they had been in Polish. No one of their residents knew Polish. She took the papers and went to Father Tom at faculty, and he requests him to translate those pages. After getting the pages translated, Father Tom himself involves their residents with inside the nighttime. As quickly as he arrives, he says to Alice, "I want an Ouija board consultation due to the fact I need to hook up with my spouse." The consultation starts. Father Tom requested Doris. What become my spouse's center call? The planchette movements and spells. Lynn During. This Doris speaks with inside the voice of Father Tom's spouse, which surprises everyone. Everyone believes that the consultation become a success. After the consultation, Father Tom asks Alice and Pina to fulfill him on my own. He tells them, the consultation we simply had become now no longer a success in any respect. My spouse's center call become now no longer. Lynn, however, Catherine Doris stated Lynn, due to the fact after asking Thackeray I subconsciously idea of Lynn in my mind. This approach that Father Tom become revealing that Doris did now no longer clearly hook up with any spirit. She become, without a doubt, studying humans' minds and responding. Therefore, as for the exclusive voices, she spoke in, she only stated a unmarried phrase in every, and humans imagine the relaxation within inside the voices of their cherished ones. In different phrases, Doris becomeable to imitating the voice of errandom person. However, Father Tom clarifies that the voice Doris used become now no longer. Clearly, his spouse's Alice then ask, show Doris is capable of do all this. Father Tom explains that Doris is possessed by an evil spirit that's controlling her movements. He then tells Paulina, the pages you gave me include the tale of a man named Marcus, who got here to Los Angeles from Poland. During World War II, a mad health practitioner captured Marcus, and that health practitioner started carrying out bizarre experiments on Marcus. That health practitioner become a psychopath, used to seize humans, like Marcus, and carry them to his residence. He experimented on them, stored them, locked in his basement, and finally killed them. And this residence in which Alice and her own circle of relatives are presently residing become clearly the residence that health practitioner. All the individuals who have been killed with the aid of using him, their corpses have been still in this residence. In different phrases, this residence turned into not anything much less than a graveyard, and as we already recognize, one of the rules of the Ouija board is the sport should be no means be performed in a graveyard, so the 0:33 rule turned into that Alice broke the Ouija board. Because of this, they have been approximately to stand a big hassle. Father Tom movements ahead and explains that during those pages Marcus has additionally written approximately his emotions after demise. Even after demise, he continues to be capable of experience the whole lot. He has remained on this international with different spirits for decades. He lives on this residence. Marcus had written in those pages that the Spirit International is extraordinarily cold and absolutely silent. No, you'll speak. No one has a voice. However, Marcus determined a voice via Doris. That turned into why Doris turned into capable of solution all of Alice's questions efficaciously due to the fact Marcus turned into constantly gift amongst them. We then see Doris sitting at the couch downstairs. Here, his appearance terrifying, and her mouth is huge. Open. Just then, there's a knock on the door, and he or she abruptly returns to ordinary. When she opened the door, it turned into Paulina's buddy. After greeting him, she took him to the basement. After going to the basement, this boy reveals a few skulls there. These are the skulls of dead human beings. Seeing them, he receives scared. Meanwhile, we see Doris at the back of him, who is being possessed in an unusual manner. Her frame is likewise twisting unnaturally. Suddenly, she rushes in and assaults the boy. During the assault, her eyes turn absolutely white. She strangles the boy and kills him. At this second, Father Tom arrives with Paulina and Alice after his assembly. As quickly as they input, they see that Paulina's buddy's frame is hanging within inside the center of the residence. The scene indicates that the boy mysteriously died and turned into hanged with the aid of using a few unknown force. Seeing this, Father Tom receives frightened and right now rushes to the basement. There he discovers the skulls of many human beings embedded within inside the partitions. Realizing the threat, he quick tells Alice to burn the Ouija board. However, notwithstanding their tries, the Ouija board, which turned into formerly burned, mysteriously reappears intact on their desk. During this time, they can't discover Doris everywhere. But then, Father Tom hears something at the back of the partitions. He additionally reveals a hidden door main to some other room. This seems to be the laboratory of Ahmad physician, who used to conduct experiments on people. Doris continues to be possessed on this room. As quickly as Father Tom steps within inside the spirits lurking, they additionally own him, now under ownership. Father Tom assaults Alice and Paulina. In a determined try to save themselves, they flee. It is proven that the spirit in the long run kills Father Tom with the aid of using suffocating him. Meanwhile, possessed Doris comes out to kill her mom and sister. She captures her mom and drags her subconscious frame to the basement. Here we see that Paulina became possessed via way of means of her father, who took her to his room. Paulina's father then informed her to silence the voices coming from the Spirit International. These voices had been reaching them through Doris as a medium. That's why Pina became possessed via way of means of Doris, simply as, I became possessed via way of means of your doll. Paulinathan is going to the basement to store her mom, in which Doris is set to attack and kill her. This time, Paulina brings a sewing needle to stitch her sister's lips close. She at once assaults Doris. However, several spirits begin restraining her from at the back of several black arms seem on her frame, but Paulina does now no longer prevent. Finally, she stitches Doris's mouth close simply.